Hello. Hello, everyone. Today is July 12th, 2020, and today is the 13th CosmoEnergy Circle. And some time ago, I started this interesting circles in order to make available the knowledge of cosmic energy to the people. There is a lot of not too much knowledge about cosmic energy because it's been started as the science, as the healing method some time ago, around 70 years ago in USSR, back in Russia. But the knowledge that have been passed and that are known on the West is not that vast, that the knowledge that actually it represents. So cosmic energy is not just a healing science. It is not just frequencies or channels that exist somewhere there in the cosmos. It's the entire map of consciousness and creation. And some time ago, I already started to talk about all the components that cosmic energy consists of. We started with what is torsion field, we started with what is channel, we figured out that it is a frequency, that we figured out that there is a limiting beliefs that are impacted by egregores. We figured out what is egregor, we figured out that it's the psychic field, that it's the entity that is somehow influencing the matrix that we're living in. That's why it is as it is. And then we slowly went to the explanation of hierarchy of creation. We went to the explanation of the 7 cosmoses and 3 laws, 3 forces that are the laws in the entire creation. And slowly we went to the cosmic energy map. It's been a work and a research for me for years, and as well it was a direct experience of you can be concerned, but the direct experience of my meditations and channeling sessions that have been done with the cosmic energy channels and other channels that have been developed in my practice for a long time. So the information that is coming into and through me is the direct experience, which is linked very much with the information that have been that is represented in Vedas and in other very ancient systems. And in the previous circles, we talked about many about some ancient historical science that is the cosmic energy is a representation of, including Hyperborean cultures and Atlantean cultures, and how they what were the mistakes and what are the attitude that we need to learn in order to not to make the mistakes, and all this codex. This is the permission of a let's say a magician or a healer or a person who is consciously awake into what's the reality really is all the pieces that are really important to contemplate on, and this is also helps to realize what is the creation around us and what we are as a creation. So today I would like to go further away with a topic that have been opened before, and this is the topic of monadic awareness, the intelligence, and how everything is created in the very spiritual beginning. And I will be sharing my presentation with you, and I want you to see what I mean by that. Okay. All right. So here we are. So today we're going to explore what is at the age of spirit and matter. And we're going to also, I will walk you through the beginning of the CosmoEnergy map that have been represented at one of the previous circles. And I have it here, so you will be fine. You will be able to see it. So before we begin, and this is what we started to talk about in the previous circles, we were going to study the archetypes of civilizational consciousness, but I would offer that we go to cover more material about the very beginning. Civilizational consciousness of a different densities is definitely very interesting, and we definitely will go through in details with all of it, and so you can comprehend and understand all the parts of the levels of consciousness in our created universe. And for now, we're going to discuss the map of consciousness that was represented in the previous circles, and its understanding will become clearer and clearer as we understand its parts in a particular concepts and the integrity of this map as a great unity. So the topic is basically where do I starts in 7 cosmoses, and what we need to take into account as we study the material that one's perception is based on the limited and sense organs. You know that very well, right? We have all the sensations, and this is how we create the picture and the projection, basically what we know, what we sense. So because of that, let's know therefore the fact that the human mind tries to put beyond itself all that it does not understand, right? So however, what is not clear to the practical lower mind of the individual human ego can be revealed and as direct knowledge to the higher mind, which sees and feels its belonging of the mystery to unity. And today I would like all the process. I would like you to internalize all the processes that we will be going through. What does it mean, internalization? You see my screen, hopefully. So it is, I want you to, as soon as I will be speaking, I want you to remove the veil of practical mind and treat the information subjectively. Subjectively means try to feel into it. See between the words and look in between the lines. Try to feel it. Try to realize that everything we are going to talk about, from the universal spirit till the last octave of the ray of creation in matter, it is all in you, or rather, all this is you. And the third thing that I ask you for is to be sure to write down the questions that you have in the process and ask them at the Q&A session at the end of the class. Okay, great. So we have this agreement. I'm sure all of you are very educated and sharp minds, as well as you have been consciously approaching God from different angles. As our topic today is God and I, the notice to internalize your experience is here really on purpose. If you have ever meditated with the dedicated worshippers of God in any tradition, especially Hindu, you probably have heard the recommendation to meditate on I am Brahman. And perhaps you remember the words of Jesus, who said, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." So, my call to you today, my invocation is your intention to realize that all creation unfolds within you, in your spiritual heart. So whatever the fine matters we will be talking about, you need to understand and feel how everything starts within you, because we will be talking about really, really fine matters, and it is spirit, right? So when you are asked where the God is, on one of the previous circles have been asked why on the map of consciousness of cosmic energy the time is on the left. The time was on the left to show that there is no time before the matter exists. And I said that the time is on the left is because the things that we're talking about, they are everywhere, right? So when you see the map of consciousness, or when I'm talking about something, you need to know that it's not high, not above and not below, because they're equal and similar, and everything is one. So when I will be talking about the fine spiritual substances, please know it's happening here and here and here and here, and mostly here inside of you, in your spiritual heart. So let this session be a meditation for you to reconnect with your soul, with your beginning, with your unity of the absolute infinity. And today we will try to figure out the basics with what we call the Trinity or Trimurti. In the various teachings and cultures and religions, it is called the same. So the next slide is Cosmic Energy Map, exactly that one that the participants of the previous circles have been able to contemplate before. This is where the time is on the left. So we have this cosmic energy map that shows the process of creation and everything that precedes it. And today we are dealing with what precedes creation and concerns exclusively unmanifested subtle spiritual substances. We remember that we have an eternal, infinite potential, transcendent beginning, the absolute, in which in our language there is nothing concrete but everything potential. It is unconditional consciousness, rootless root, or causeless cause. So this pure potentiality is a spirit, and within it, it's a metaphysical abstract center, and they are the souls. Souls are inside the absolute. So if we would change the perspective of how we look at the map of the to the view from above, we will see that the souls being in the center, metaphysically saying, right? So you can see on your screens. I should made this dark circle upon which you see the souls being a yellow. In that case, you will see that this construct that I draw, which would be the same map of cosmic energy as the previous one, but from above, you would see the souls being yellow. If they would be yellow, the construct that I'm going to explain you right now would be exactly that egg of creation, right? You know this meaning, the egg. You know the meaning of egg. You've had egg many times. So the egg of creation. Many teachings do not tell us where the soul starts their journey from in creation. The maps of Kashmiri Shaivism and Vedantic Tattvas say only that the souls are experienced in creation. and I will show it to you now. But the source of information that gives me inspiration in the circle says that the souls are inside the absolute, and that the souls are the absolute. So here you can see the tantric cosmology and yoga sutras tattvas, and you can see everything in explanation, like they call Shakti the power of reflective self-awareness that is also present in CosmoEnergy map, and they called Shiva the transcendent light of consciousness, or they called Purusha and Prakriti consciousness and matter in the different. So if you will go quickly through this maps, you will realize there is nothing about the soul. So we are saying, we are, I mean, the unmanifested teachers that I am in contact with are saying that the souls are inside the absolute. And this is a representation of what I mean. In absolute frequency, we know that the absolute is the great nothingness, the causeless cause, and the frequency of a vibration of the absolute is unimaginably high. And through the discharge of vibration, the pure light without any qualities and characteristics derives from the absolute. It is the process how darkness becomes light. In the map of CosmoEnergy, which was reviewed on the previous circles, and I showed it to you here. This light is called the pure light of consciousness, and the companion of pure light of consciousness is self-awareness, or awareness, or self-reflective awareness. And awareness is the first emanation of the absolute light of consciousness. That's why and this emanation is the primary torsion field, which, as we know, is the information basis of everything that exists. Those of you who have been having these circles with us before know what is torsion field. Eventually the whole universe is a torsion field. All creation. Oops. No, I won't show you right now. Yeah, we can do it this way. You probably, this is how the torus works. So let's go back to this slide, and where you can see I marked the souls, the absolute, that derives the light of consciousness that goes to the awareness, this self-reflective awareness, that is in fact the torsion field, the primary torsion field of creation. As the first impulse of differentiation, the subjective absolute light, light of consciousness, manifests through through that is addressed to the will of self-recognition, the awareness. In fact, self-awareness can be called the force or Shakti in Kashmiri tradition, that has the effect of mirror or shadow and shade. Imagine the spirit. Okay, imagine reflection of air or the light, just the light and the mirror in front of it, so the light can realize that it is. And the purpose of awareness is to reflect the light, to confirm the presence of consciousness. That is a more function, and in the more functional sense, the power of awareness is being an informational carrier of all that is manifest and unmanifested, through which is the absolute receives information about itself. So what I want to show you, torsion field So you see the picture and the slide that is called pre-cosmic ideation, and this is awareness plus light of consciousness equals monad, right? So together they form a metaphysical circle. The center, just imagine this, the center of which is everywhere, and the periphery has no boundaries. It was my effort to draw you the circle with the center everywhere and periphery without the boundaries. So I hope that you understand in this drawing what I meant, because I'm telling it to you now. And the point of this circle is the monad, the spark of the absolute light that gives birth to individualized self. Again, awareness and light of consciousness create the monad. As they are metaphysical substances, they are the spirit. Together they form a metaphysical circle, and the center of the circle is everywhere. And the periphery has no boundaries. And the point of the circle is the monad. It is the something monad will give a birth to souls. So, in fact, it's too early for this. Okay. This process in metaphysical is completely metaphysical, and it has no beginning or end. The absolute consciousness, awareness, and monad are existing simultaneously, and they only in word, and in fact, they exist only in words. And only in words. What I wanted to say, wait a second. Okay, so the absolute consciousness and awareness and the monad are simultaneously exist, and only the word does not one come from the other. In fact, they are indivisible primary trinity. Last time we were on the previous circle, we said that the monad has no self-awareness, and that's true. But therefore, monad is not the creator in a full sense of the word, but it has an absolute consciousness because it is a derivative of it. It has the same nature, and this consciousness perceives the impulses of the systems of creation for the formation of parameters of individualized souls that undergo experience in creation for the purpose of the absolute to know itself. We talked a little bit before the morning, and the main function is to form this soul that will be sequentially going through the experience to make the experience absolute, to go back and to show it to its absolute creator. This is who you are. This is what I brought you, and this is the main causeless cause of the journey of monads and the souls that they create for the absolute. And action, and I want you to understand that the substance of a monad is the same, has the same nature as the absolute, and therefore it has similar absolute consciousness that helps the monad to create the souls that will go to the creation that we will be talking about later for the experience. So the monad in some teachings, for example in Kabbalah, is called the spirit sun or unmanifested spirit, which then merged with the power of awareness, Shakti in Kashmiri tradition, which is the primary torsion field, differentiates further into the first manifested spirit. What I just said is that monad equal first and manifested spirit. And the power of awareness, it's everywhere, and on the every next um, uh, step, it gives out itself to create the new and new and new congregations. And from monad, that is in Kabbalah the sun and unmanifested spirit, and the awareness, that is the mother of the monad, and also the bride of the monad, they create together the first manifested spirit, the one who is going to create all the illusion. So each division of the simple into complex, each further complication of space causes the formation of a new torsion fields. So it's like on and on and on and on, and thus its structural matrix becomes more complex. One torsion field is embedded in one another and intersects with one another. I can show it here to you. So they intersect with one another, and they embedded with one another, and depending on the nature of the space and the souls that are having the experience in a certain space, they act differently. But every creature, every object, every planet, every system, everything has a torsion field. And it is the informational totality of our universe and the entire creation, and it has no boundaries, and its speed more than the speed of light. So you can imagine that the entire torus of creation is a torus and torus and torus, layers and layers, and intersections and intersections. And this is the unified awareness network, the unity awareness, the unity consciousness. It is the torsion field. And this is so-called, what we just described, the monad, the light of pure consciousness, the reflective self-awareness, that is a monad, right, itself, plus manifested spirit. The first the monad goes together with the awareness, and they give a birth to first manifested spirit. So this is so-called the first order world, in which there are three forces, and we were talking about them previously. Active is, did I show it too? No. Well, you know this material if you have been earlier with us. So active awareness torsion field, the passive light of the absolute source of consciousness, and the neutralizing power of unmanifested spirit or monad. Where is it? Here. However, I want you comprehend on incomprehensible mystery of the Trinity. All that we have described before the manifested spirit and its further differentiation is what is that which has been and always remain unchanged. It's omnipresent. This is the word of spirit and thought. No action, no changes are happening here, because this Trinity is absolute, or they are absolute non-material substances that have no properties other than those that cannot be comprehended by any perception. Comprehension of the absolute is possible only by becoming it. You heard that many times probably, right? It is incomprehensible mystery beyond time, beyond space. This is the omnipresent basis on which the creation unfolds. And here we have a Trinity, that one and indivisible spiritual principle of everything, 3 in 1. And this Trinity is absolute unconditional, unconditioned consciousness, awareness, and monad, where they are father, mother, and son. And it is only later, when we will look at the milestones of the monad's experience through the creation, we will see that awareness, mother, love, or torsion field it's all the same, is combined with each new turn of spiral of the ray of creation, forming new and new informational toruses and matrix fields. And we'll see how our Trinity will be transformed after that, in the manifestation of creation, in the Maya, in the illusion. As we travel along the ray of creation, the original essence of absolute consciousness in the form of a monad will become more and more differentiated to the extreme limit, only to return after a complete experience and dissolve in its source. In the next stage, the awareness, which is a torsion field, it merges with the unmanifested spirit, and the first manifested spirit is formed. So that was my effort with this tricky round wide circle around the monadic trinity, to show you that it is metaphysically saying the manifested spirit. It is the manifested spirit that have been created by the monadic trinity and the awareness that offers itself all the time, because it's like the informational basis of the universe. This is the first manifested spirit that creates the conditions for the development and realization of the potential of souls in the existence of matter. So you can see I tried to draw the toruses on the ray of creation. It is last toruses that I would like to show you, because you can see it only, I showed them only sequentially, but they are all over. And eventually the universe that goes beyond the indivisible omnipresent trinity is the manifested universe, which eventually will look like this. Okay, I'm showing you on my screen. So it's so all this 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, it's the representation of the number of rays of creation within one ray of creation, as well as all the densities I marked. Also of all cosmoses I marked from 1 to 7, and there are more subdimensions in each of them, you know that already. So it was it was my effort to show you that the number of toruses in our universe is infinite, as many physical and metaphysical objects and subjects exist. So the torus field is penetrating the entire Genesis. And the first manifested spirit, it is again the awareness, torsion field, plus unmanifested spirit, that is a monad. And the first manifested spirit is known as God, the Father of all and everything in many traditions of the world. He is the lawgiver of the hierarchy of creation. That creation that is beneath, that goes after the Trinity, the creator of the material and immaterial spaces of the 7 spheres, 7 realms, or 7 rays of creations, and 7 cosmoses with all their layers, densities, planes, etc. The synthesis of the 7 cosmoses forms the ray of creation, and it is kind of 7 rays of creation and 7 cosmoses, and all that is one ray of creation, and that is the single set of intelligent forces that establish the laws of nature, experience, and mechanisms of development of all beings. The manifested spirit is apparently the architect of the manifested universe. And he is the universal and intelligent soul. And he is the divine faculty of creating and receiving ideas, including the ideal plans and prototypes of all things and phenomena, both in the manifested and in the subjective world. The manifested world is the great thought of the creator of the manifested spirit. The architect is the reflection of this thought, and the absolute created the essence without the form. It's the soul. And architect created the form without the essence. So the essence, the soul, is absolute, and architect is the form without the essence. Got it? We can call the process of emerging self-awareness and the first manifested spirit the architect, and from now on we will call it the creator or the architect for the beginning of all creation. And here the concept of our original Trinity will change without the change of its primal essence. Here I mean in creation. Oh yeah, here's what I wanted to show you, how the primal torsion field is pervading all the 7 cosmoses in creation. I hope you like my drawing. For those of you who don't see it, something like this. All right. What we need to continue from, and here's the we said that the original Trinity concept will change as it goes down to the creation. It will change from a primal, but the primal essence will stay the same, but the concept will change because remember the law of 3 forces. It shows that when going beyond the unconditional absolute, 3 forces that are primal laws are given to the will of architect in 7 cosmoses, and that we can see that the expression of how the architect is using these 3 laws of creation is completely given to the will of architect. And what he's doing, he's doubling the number of laws in each subsequent cosmos and density. Let me see. I guess I have here. No, here. Yeah. So on your screens, you can see the law of 3 forces in 7 cosmoses, and this is the material that we went through in our previous circles. And it's very clear, and you can see that the absolute independent oneness is a representation of 3 forces that we just discussed. And sequentially, in all the lower cosmoses that represents all worlds, all galaxies and star systems, all solar systems, all planets, Earth and Moon, the number of laws that are active in this spheres as the creation ray go down to where we are in 3D, it sequentially doubles. So in 7 cosmoses of the architect's creation, the Trinity is transformed to the architect as the most novice, performs the role of a son. Monad becomes an expression of the absolute father-mother, and the soul as an individualized ego that derives from the monad is the unified spirit. But today I would like to stay focused on the primary basis of life, on the higher spiritual trinity substances, because its understanding leads to its recognition, not only intellectual, but also the living of the mystery through the direct experience. And this is the basis of experience, the beginning and the end, and at the same time, the eternity, right? So these areas of the primary trinity are the highest aspects of the divine. I want to show it to you again. Yeah, so these areas, whatever I start saying, these areas of the primary trinity are the highest aspects of the divine principle of all teachings, and also in CosmoEnergy. And several channels of CosmoEnergy are aimed at achieving a state of pure light of consciousness, of unconditioned consciousness, unity, harmony, union with the monadic principle, and the development of the highest qualities of mind, thought, and love in pure unconditioned unity. And being in the state of such unity changes one's consciousness as a constant meditation on the I am Brahman. And we know that a return to a primary undistorted consciousness, unconditioned consciousness, is certainly the excellent accelerator for the evolution of consciousness. And why we need to evolutionize, I guess that's not a question for any of you now. So I wanna draw your attention again to what I call internalization. We just covered a little some of the material that I want you to again internalize, to feel that the creation starts with the absolute and consciousness and monad and awareness and torsion field. It's not happening somewhere there. It is happening here. It is happening here. And you see the this on your screens, right? And I want to just imagine you a couple of things, so you have a feeling that actually all what I've been just talking about is not happening somewhere. It is happening here. And it's happening simultaneously all the time, no matter if you're aware of that or not. It is how it is. And you can deny it, and you can renounce it, and you can forget about it, and you can keep yourself asleep. But no matter what, you can just say, yes, I'm ready, and and you're awake. Okay, so I want to give you an example. Imagine, I want to give you and prove you a little bit that what I'm saying is actually already there, and you already know how to do it perfectly, how to go back to your absolute, and that you are the absolute. Imagine that you're sleeping in a deep dreamless sleep, having a very deep dreamless sleep. You're not aware of yourself, as monad is not aware of itself. You even don't seem to be there. You do not observe space. You do not have thoughts. You do not have feelings. You have no any ideas raveling swirling around your mind. And you exist essentially only in words, as we are talking now about it. And then in the morning, when it comes, your brain changes the frequency of signals from delta to theta frequencies. And if you have woken up of your own volition and not on the alarm clock to work, then you're in a state of clarity and peace. You just woke up, you didn't open your eyes yet, and you're still in this clarity and peace. Going up, waking up from a very deep sleep with no dreams. And this state of clarity that is before the thought can be called the pure light of consciousness, the transcendent light of consciousness, or the pure I beyond the definitions, any labels. And there is still no any creative movement or self-identification or no any differentiation. You're solid and clear. That's it. But there is an incomprehensible subjective presence, nothing else. Incomprehensible subjective presence. And the next step to start functioning is the impulse of self-identification to that I, right? And this is I is subjective and non-specific. The impulse of self-recognition manifests itself as a thought of self-awareness. This is it, the power of awareness. The impulse of self-recognition manifests itself as a thought within you, the thought of self-awareness. This is, so the self-awareness is telling you, I am. And you laying in your bed, and this impulse is telling you, I am. And then, as the thought, I exist, has passed through your being, you begin to think about how it can be manifested today, the I am. And when you make this decision, you identify with an action and role that was previously only a thought. Out of consciousness and awareness, which formed a thought of I am, the word is born. The word is, so you saying I am that. You identify yourself as something what you're going to manifest today. And then you get out of the bed and start your creation according to the thought you have identified with. All that has been described above, given the omnipresence of spirit and awareness, is everywhere. And it is in you. And it is an eternal and integral part of you. Again, no matter what state you're in, whether you're aware of it or not, whether you're asleep or awake, whether you're alive in a physical sense, in a physical body, or you're between lives, this Trinity is the basis of everything and is inherent in every spiritualized being that you fully are. Therefore, I now suggest that we move on to questions. Then we will meditate on this with the use of CosmoEnergetic channels transmission. Okay. Oh. How are chakras connected to the heart, monad, and absolute? We can say that what we know from the 7 chakras that we are present about this presence in our bodies, that the 3 heart chakras is something that stays with us forever. We know that the astral, etheric, and emotional bodies, and physical body, of course, is something that is going to be destroyed when we change the body, when we transition out of the body. So what stays forever is what's called in a Vedic tradition is Atma, Buddhi, and Manas, which is in fact is Atma is a spirit, Buddhi is a soul, and Manas is the highest mind, the intelligence. That 3 of them are forming the monad, right? So these are 3 our upper higher bodies that are spiritual bodies, that are the soul bodies, and the intelligence of the monad. In fact, this is what we travel always in. This is our spaceship. This is the carrier that is omnipresent. And in this regard, the chakras are connected to monad and absolute. The heart can be that exact spiritual carrier of the monad, right? The intelligence of the monad. And as we are going through the heart, when we are dissolving the human's mind, right? This is the way how we throw the dry wood into the fire, which evaporates the leftovers of the reality that is the astral body of desire and the emotions and everything else that we are going to get rid of when we are transitioning from this life, from this vessel, from this body to somewhere else. And you know that depending on how our physical, emotional, and astral and causal body have been bind with each other and been tightened up with each other, and it depends on our emotional nuclearity, I would say. It depends on what was our presence as habits, emotional habits, and as well as physical habits. Because as we leave this body, all these shells are getting destroyed, and we in disconnect we have the monad and absolute still being with us. So we're going back as a soul to our monad, having the same core. And when we are reviewing our life, when we're analyzing the lessons from this lifetime and all the previous and next lifetimes, we will be able to perceive the monad. We'll be able to perceive, okay, according to what will be the next incarnation, what should be the body look like, what kind of body I need to form in order for this being, for the soul, to be able to complete its tasks and perform its task at its best, no matter what destination is going to be, what destination or planet or race or gender, or no matter if it's human or animal or plant or some other kind of consciousness. It's going to be like the monad is responsible for forming the right soul that will be able to perform that its tasks best. Any more questions? I had a lot of your questions previously. I wonder what's going on in, oh, how is Atman different from the monad created soul? How is Atman different from the monad created soul? It's different only by like if we are talking about it, right? Because Atman is the universal soul. I mean, the absolute soul itself, and the monad created soul is the individualized spark of the Atman, of the absolute, and this spark is the soul that is going through the lives, starting from the minerals, then plants, then animals, then people, then other beings, less and less dense, to go back to the Atman, to merge with it back. In fact, it's not different, because the nature of the soul and Atman, which the soul that have been created by monad and the Atman is the same. The nature is absolutely the same, but in order for Atman to know itself, it sends graciously all its souls, all itself, to all ends of this manifested universe, on a complete grace of the architect. And I promise you, we will be talking about the architect and its interesting things of the that he is creating within his ray of creation later. How is the architect different from the monad? The architect is different from the monad in that case, that monad, being the absolute substance, is creating the essence. It is the essence. It is the spiritual. It is the spark of the spirit. An architect is the one who is creating forms without the essence. I briefly talked about that. If you missed it, I want to say that again, that the architect is the one who is responsible for all the laws of interactions of matter, and also the interactions of soul and matter, and all the laws, how they go through the creation in order to have the this complete experience, to bring it back, to go through it again and again through samsara, to be the complete experience that the soul will be finally returning to the absolute, to show for the absolute to know, to recognize himself. So they are very different. The architect and monad are very different. Monad is a spiritual essence, and the architect is something that is creating the forms. Who keeps the information about karma? This is not the topic for today's, but I would love to run through it on the further sessions. For now, I can just say that there is something, again, metaphysical. It's not the Great Britain Museum or the library of the Stanford University, right? The information of a karma has been kept by the counselors, or so called the karmic council. Again, it's not the physical being, it's a metaphysical being, the group of beings, the conglomerate consciousness, kind of that civilization and consciousness that we will be talking in the future, that we will be talking in the future. And so this is kind of another layer in a field of awareness, that is the recording of the core experience of the absolute. And can you imagine the wire that is connected to every single principle, including the trees, including people, including all beings, and accumulating? It's again, who keeps the information about karma? That's not the simple question, because it's not somebody who sits and writes everything down, right? It is much more complex and perfect organism. This is also again something that have been created by the architect, but the carriers of the experience itself are the monads, because they are producing the souls that are collecting the karma. And when the karma, when there is no more karma, which is not really often happening, then we are going entirely back to the absolute. And monads are staying the same until the next great cycle of creation, when they will be producing new and new souls for the new creation. I hope I shortly answered your questions, and thank you very much for your questions. All right. Thank you very much. And for now, for those of you who are joining a Zoom session, a Zoom call, I'm inviting you to get ready to the CosmoEnergy transmission. For those of you who don't, who look on us on social media, I am closing this broadcasting because we follow some energetic hygiene. And today the meditation will be really powerful, because I am also sharing the energy that is given to every human being at the moment, when the planets are going back to the same direction as they have been placed at the time of birth of the person. And today is my birthday, so I want you to know that in this space beyond time and space are also present all my spiritual guides and unmanifested teachers, as well as all my relations that and connections from the generic line, as well as the spiritual mentors that could can be present and cannot be present because they're not physical. So the power of today's transmission gonna be really something interesting. Thank you for your questions, and I will see you in 2 weeks on Sunday at 12 p.m. And check for more videos my YouTube channel, Eve Soboleva, and join the group CosmoEnergy on Facebook, and follow the white rabbit. Namaste. Okay. Take in a deep, deep breath. I may be taking a sip of water. Okay. I want to share the screen. Okay. Taking a deep breath. And relaxing and sinking down into a chair. Or the couch. And today's meditation will be harmonization of each and every aspect that haven't been considered holy, that have been refused or denied by any of the reasons and please keep your attention inside of your heart. And open your hearts to the all life beings. All life beings. I'm opening up my heart to the heart of all beings. No matter if a practical, logical mind considers them good or bad, appropriate or inappropriate, there is a reflection of our absoluteness in all beings. Absolute doesn't mean just light. Absolute means absolute. And as we are sometimes wanting to see just light and ignoring something that needs attention, are being abiding our shadow that is not getting in harmony. And right now, we're opening 3 cosmic energy channels from a magic block that are a representation of divine feminine, divine masculine, such as reflective self-awareness and softness and love and the basis, the transcendent light of awareness as a masculine aspect. And the third channel is the unity of omnipresent cosmic beginning. And keep your attention in between your eyebrows and your heart, and invite all of you, whatever you are, the absoluteness of you, to be in harmony, to be back, be seen in the absolute harmony. In the stream of three, the frequencies of these three is like the frequencies of magnetic shell that is embracing and enveloping you, creating the absolute harmony within and without. And in your heart, going back to the state of being yet unborn, being the light, pure potential, pure potential of the absolute, being in peace with itself as it is. It is happening within you now. And let yourself feel how the sparks of your absolute unconditioned light, the clarity of it, are getting spread around and making circles and circles and circles of lifetimes, bringing you all of you back, confirming your wholeness with all the qualities that you need to recognize as yours. And let this feeling be home, the home of your heart in a center where the peaceful, not acting, transparent, unlabeled light of consciousness is floating in embrace of awareness, of love. ever present. I am harmony of all my sparks. I am the absolute harmony of all my particles, of all my genesis, of all my being. And I am a harmony of all that is. And you can sense as your spiritual heart becoming the egg of creation, with the soul resting on the waters of unconditioned spirit, transcendent consciousness, surrounded by love of awareness everywhere. The channels are intensified. Just receiving the frequency of home. Breathe in it. And as you're feeling the frequencies and harmonized, having the feeling of unlabeled, unconditioned transcendence, know that you are the beginning of everything, ever present beginning. And let the seed, the spark that you created inside your spiritual heart, have this similar power the similar force of wisdom and love that derives from emanating when it directs thousands and millions of a new soul to go to experience the absolute. That this power and awareness of this power be in your heart forever. And taking a deep breath. Taking a deep breath. And smiling. Smiling, having a big healthy smile. Maybe opening your eyes. Stretching. And still remembering how much power you just opened up. And how much power you just activated within yourself with this remembrance. The beginning of creation that is always will be there, that is simultaneously always happening without the end and actually without the beginning, is actually nowhere but here, right? Within you. I'm sending you the most powerful streams of light and consciousness and love, of course, at this day as today's blessings when the planets are at the same direction, at the same location as they have been 37 years ago. One has the extra power of manifestation and revision of one's life. And I'm sharing this gift because it's infinite. It just the present, the gift that is, and I'm sharing this gift with you, my dear friends. And I want you to experience very uplifting and very clear and heart-centered events happening in your life, and be very present about that you have this extra power. And I'm sharing with it with you with you right now, this clarity, love, and freedom and wisdom. Thank you so much for joining today and being with me at this day. You're all very precious to me. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Namaste.